Grab that window seat, reserve your spot with our seat selector. Visit lner.co.uk/reserve seat. Welcome to The Quiet Coach on Roots from LNER. I'm Clara Antho, and on this episode we are diving quietly into the travel mind of magician Steven Frayne, formerly known as Dynamo. Now, Steven, very excited to hear about your snacks, your tracks and your hacks. I know you're a good music man. I know you love a good snack, and obviously as you've travelled loads, I'm sure you've got some good hacks for me, so we're going to get straight into it. How do you wind down when you're away? Can you wind down?
I kind of like to get lost in a good book. I've started reading a book by this guy called Chase Jarvis. He started this online community, like educational community called Creative Live. And it's a bit like masterclass style, like
Okay.
but it's more slightly more accessible, like the names on there are, are sometimes the more unknown talent that's like super talented, like photographers and, theatre people. And I originally went to go on the course to do the Ryan Holiday course, because Ryan Holiday is my favourite author. He had a course on there about marketing, because the first book he ever put out that I read was called Trust Me, I'm Lying. And it was all about like guerrilla marketing and me being kind of, wanting to get my magic out there in interesting ways. That was the book that I read, and it was the most amazing book. And then I found out I was doing this course, this online course. It was like £25, or you could like pay for £45 for the whole year subscription and look at all the other courses. So I just signed up to it, and the course was amazing. Then I did like loads of other courses, got my money's worth. And yeah, I was in the bookshop the other day, and I saw. I was like, Chase Jarvis, wait a minute, I recognise that name. Turned the book over and it goes, oh yeah, creator of, Creative Live, written his first book. So I was like, I'm getting that. So I started reading it yesterday.
I love that. Do you know, and also I just think it's so important for us to always put more emphasis on reading, because don't get me wrong, we all love to sit on a long train journey and like scroll away sometimes and maybe watch other people, but there is such a beauty in being lost in just a good book, whether it's fiction, non-fiction, just having all your attention on someone else's words and world. Like you really can't beat it.
No, it's amazing. I think I got in a habit early because we couldn't afford a TV. We didn't have a TV license. I didn't get my first TV till like 15, and that was partly because I got my first ever job. I've only ever had really a weekend job. I never had a proper job, right, other than magic, right? But I worked in a video store called White Video Centre, and part of the job I had to recommend the films. But because I didn't have a TV, he gave me one of those, remember them TVs where they've got a VHS player built in? Mm-hmm. So I got to take one of them home, and then we didn't have a TV license, but I would take home all the movies, and that was my television. That was it. We didn't watch the news, didn't watch anything other than these films. But the cool thing about working in a video store is they would get time code release copies, which were uncertificated. So I could watch a film that is an 18 in the cinema, but it wasn't a certificated cassette that I was watching. So I could watch all the films, adult films, like young, like I was watching like Bloodsport and the Jean-Claude Van Damme fighting films when I was like not old enough to really watch them. Yeah, and because I didn't have TV, right, I didn't have normal television to watch. In my head, these movies were documentaries. So everything I'm seeing people do, if I'm seeing Superman fly, I'm like, maybe I could do that. And that kind of helped to inspire the imagination to maybe make me think, I've seen these people do this stuff. That's what I want to be like that when I'm older.
And you made it happen.
Yeah, it's
you
crazy.
Absolutely made it happen.
But I think, reading for me is, if I could recommend one thing to anybody, just read. When I was at school, I struggled at school because of the bullying. So I would often just, go home, get lost in a book. And then when I finished school, the thing that people normally do when you finish school is you go into like maybe higher education, or you go into a job and you learn on the job, but you stop educating in the way that you did at school. Like you fall out of the habit of learning something new every single day. And that's why I think reading is important, because you can read a page of a book each day and learn something new. And then, it sometimes can feel difficult to read a whole book, like books like 300, 400 pages long. But if you read everybody can read one page a day.
Absolutely.
And then you read one page a day and you've read a book in a year, do you know what I mean? And then you try 2 pages a day for next year, and, you build that habit. So from leaving school, I tried to just never stop learning, because I'm forever a student. That's how I look at life.
No, right on. Side note, have you ever read the CBBC children's story?
Yeah.
Have you done that? Because I think you'd be great
No,
at that.
you know what? You know what?
Tom Hardy's done it. So
Yeah,
I
there was a time when I got asked about doing it, and then I got really sick and I disappeared for a while.
Right.
I read a story for the Save the Children charity.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm down. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
CBBC, because I know one of you producers is listening. Get this guy to the nighttime stories. I think you'd be great at it. I think you'd be like a children's book about magic.
Yeah.
With a great like moral of the story. I think I could just really.
I should
see
write
that.
a children's book about magic.
I was going to ask you actually.
Not like a magic, like not like a teaching book, but
a story.
You know, like a modern day Harry Potter. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like not that Harry Potter wasn't cool, but like a cooler version. You know what I mean?
I really think you can do that. As you speak, I'm just like, why hasn't this man written a children's book yet? So another one for the bucket list. Going to New Orleans, writing a kid's book. Okay, so tell me about a place. I mean, maybe it's New Orleans again, but tell me about a place that has inspired you and a place that's changed you.
A place that's inspired me, I would say Varanasi in India.
Okay.
I was there during Holi Festival filming.
That's when they put the colourful powder on each other.
Yes, yeah. But like that's quite a magical place because I think it's the oldest. I might be quoting wrong here, but I think it's the oldest city like in India, and it's obviously it's right on the Ganges. You know what I mean? It's so magical. You've got like being there. It's kind of like going back in time, but in the best possible way. And I think everyone who goes there, once you go there, it changes you. Like you can't help but not come back from that place changed.
Okay, right, let's get into your snacks. What are the foods that you have to travel with? And also, let's shine light on this because, you've been very open about the fact that you live with Crohn's disease. So you're quite particular about the snacks that you have to take with you?
Yeah, I'm very much a creature of habit. It has to be quite a boring diet of the same foods. Like I kind of rotate the same kind of 5 meals every week, which is very boring, but it's the safest way to kind of keep my Crohn's at bay. It's not a surefire thing, Crohn's can still come up and kick me in the butt, but it's
quite literally.
Yeah. When I'm traveling, if I'm on an airplane, I'll always take a sandwich with me rather than rely on the food. Like even if I'm in like a business class or whatever, or, if I'm flying in luxury, I would still not risk the food. I'd take my own with me, and usually I keep it really simple. Like if you go to like the supermarket and they have the kids sandwiches where it's just plain ham, like, and nothing else, or plain cheese, or it's just really basic simple stuff. That's what I normally would take because I'm just like, I can't really go wrong with it. I love you ever seen like those tuna mayo sandwiches where it's like it's so well mixed that it's like almost like cream?
Yeah.
Tuna. Like I love those, and I know they're just basic sandwiches, they're little 99p sandwiches, but there's a bit of a theme here, 99p bus to London, 99p sandwich, you know what I mean? Keeping it simple. Yeah, just really simple foods, but the highlight of my week, every week, without a doubt, is Sunday roast and Yorkshire puddings. It's got to be done.
Who's cooking in your house? Is it a team effort?
It's definitely not me, and my wife is a good cook, but we often, will. My father-in-law comes over sometimes and he cooks, or it's very. My wife's got the opposite of me. She's got a very kind of communal family. She's got a very big family, and it's often families together, all cooking, everyone like mucking in. But I have made a roast dinner before myself.
A roast dinner, so one in your whole life.
Yeah, like I wouldn't recommend my cooking.
I was going to say, how was it received, Stephen?
I enjoyed it. But I don't know what I was like if I give it to anybody else. Like, let's just say my Yorkshire puddings were a bit flat and they didn't look like the Yorkshire puddings on the picture.
Right, okay.
But it tasted good. That's the most important thing, right?
That is the most important thing. And for you, being from Bradford, you need to make sure those things come correct.
I'll tell you, this isn't even a question you asked me, but
it's
just my favourite thing that I've ever been given. For my 40th birthday, my wife she made me a cake of 40 Yorkshire puddings stacked up, almost like, when you've like a chocolate fondant where you tip, and she poured the gravy on the top and it all went trickling down into all of them. And that was like the best thing anyone's ever got me, ever. It was amazing. And them Yorkshire puddings tasted amazing, like they were impeccable. So yeah, that was the best birthday present I've ever had.
That's love. Shout out to Nick Grimshaw, because Grimmy, for his birthday, he had a chips cake. A cake.
Man.
Made out made out
like
of chips.
A Jenga type.
Yeah, chips.
Yeah.
A bag of fries with a candle in the middle.
Amazing.
So, Like I love
You
it
love
for
what you
both of
love, innit?
Exactly. You love what you love. All right, let's get into tracks because I know music is a massive part of your life. It's a big influence on everything you do. I know you've got great music planned for your new shows, which is so exciting. So what music do you listen to when you're away, and what songs immediately transport you to a place that you've been?
It's constantly changing. I'm always finding new music. I love discovering new songs. I think I'm what you would consider like an early adopter. Like at the moment, obviously I've been listening to
I
Doechie's
knew you were going to say,
album.
don't you?
So good,
But we're all
so good.
obsessed. But she's just that
Yeah,
good.
it's amazing.
She
And
is just
I
that
love the fact
amazing.
that she's done like the she used the gotcha sample. It's actually a sample.
Yeah.
It's an older sample, but I don't know the name of the original person. But yeah, the Anxiety song is amazing. I mean, like her work ethic as well. She's incredible. The Stephen Colbert performance where she, but I
Sensational.
know that she did that in 4 days. She just knuckled down and did it, and that's definitely like that. She's speaking from my heart. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm all about. Yeah, like I think obviously we talked about Kendrick earlier. Kendrick is the man. He's definitely the man of the moment right now. But he's one of those guys who's been grinding behind the scenes for years. Back when he was just K-Dot, before he took his own name and became, and that's what he performs under now. Linkin Park were my all-time favorite band. My last big tour when I did the O2 Arena and stuff like that. That was heavily influenced. I had a lot of Linkin Park music in that, and I really do love the new album with the new singer.
Yeah, female vocalist, which I
sounds
love.
amazing.
Yeah,
she sounds amazing. And then I'm into a lot of eclectic music. Like for the show I've been working on, I've been like, there's like cinematic orchestra. I've been listening to like a lot of Hans Zimmer, the way he scores films as well. Like he's got a song called Time, which is amazing from the Inception film. I'm really, if I wasn't a magician and I was good at music, I probably would have become a musician somehow. Like, when I played the piano when I was younger, and I actually got into Yamaha Music School and got to like grade 6 on the keyboard or something like that. Like
you did all right.
but the thing is, I was stupid because I was learning all this classical music and it wasn't cool to me. I felt embarrassed to play it in front of my friends. I didn't want to play Swan Lake to my friends. I didn't realize then that the foundations of like the hip hop beats and stuff like that come, when you're musically come from learning those things. Like if you look at Timbaland as a producer, he plays all those classics, and that's
Same with Dr. Dre, he's an amazing pianist.
Exactly, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was stupid because I didn't realize that I needed these foundations to make the cool stuff. So yeah, but like I am definitely like, I love the minutiae and the detail and the intricacy that goes into crafting a beat and creating music. Like, my first ever DVD I made, this was before I was known, it was called Hip Hop Beats and Magic from the Streets, and I used the word da streets, right? And I made the whole thing myself. The front cover was my tag, which was on buses as well, but don't tell anybody it was me.
I'm sure Bradford City Council will forgive you for that one.
And then I made all the beats for it. So I made the beats and the magic. So like literally, I think, and I have...
And use the word "da." Sorry, I've just got to go back there. Of course you did. But
so,
you know what?
So I've always been into music massively.
Yeah,
I'm always listening to different things. I love everything from, going right back, to my grandpa's favourite music, like the Connells. There's a song called 74, 75. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. It's quite a sad song, but it's amazing. And then, I was watching an incredible documentary about Diane Warren, I believe she's called.
Oh, the amazing songwriter who's written for everyone, like Whitney, Celine.
Yeah, the Tony Braxton.
Yeah, she's a G.
Unchain My Heart, like Cher, like she's written for everybody.
Still never won an Oscar for original songs, which is an absolute crime.
Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, like I'm really like I'm a fan of music, just genuinely a fan. Like I think, and my favorite documentary of all time. The Defiant Ones, or documentary series rather, Defiant Ones, the Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine story, like that's pure inspiration to me.
Oh, absolutely. That's magic.
For real.
Truly is magic. All right, we're going to come to your hacks now because as we know, Dynamo, you are a traveling man, and one of the biggest, I think, tricks in the world is trying to pack smartly for a holiday. So what are your tips and tricks for packing? Are you a roller, folder? What's your vibe?
Well, you know what? You ask anybody who knows me personally and they will attest that this is factually correct. Packing is my secret skill. 1,000,000%. I always travel light. You know, I love small backpacks. Like I don't love big bags. I like small bags, right, and small cases, right. I always try and not check in luggage. I always try carry on everywhere.
Same.
Yeah.
Hand luggage only.
Yeah, hand luggage only.
It's the way to be.
Right. I've got a fine art to my packing. You never need as much as you think. You end up, you know, there was times when I'd take all these bags, I'd take all these clothes, and then I'd get there and I'd end up wearing, you know, I'd only wear like 3 of the outfits out of the 10 that I've packed. And it's just like, you know, you can find a laundrette in other places. You can get things cleaned. You know, hotels have a laundry system, right? You know, you don't need to, you know, and also like, who are we trying to impress? You know what I mean? Like,
do you know what, Stephen? I'm so happy you say this because the amount of people who have dragged me for only doing hand luggage, like, what? I'm like, you can find a
also,
local
you can,
laundrette.
most places you go now, you know, they have shops. You know, you can go and buy a top if you need it. I try and pack enough that I can cover each weather condition. So like, I've got maybe there's some shorts, there's, you know, for swimming and stuff like that, but then there's like t-shirts, but then I also make sure that I'm wearing a big coat with a smaller coat maybe underneath it.
Yes.
So that if it's hot, I don't have to wear the big coat, but if it happens to rain or if it's, you know, cold, then I'm ready. I'm just ready for all weather, you know?
Great minds pack alike.
Yes.
Love
100%.
it, love it, love it, love it. All right. I need to ask you about dog-friendly hotels because I know you love your dog dearly.
Yeah.
Does she travel with you as much as
Oh,
possible?
as much as
Right.
possible, yeah. Yeah, definitely. She's on my rider. You
So,
know,
okay,
I've got a very basic rider. I'm not one of those guys. I'm definitely not a diva by any means. I'm almost like the anti-celeb. I even feel weird saying I'm celeb because, you know, it's just a silly thing. But
you're low key.
yeah, but my dog, she's the exception to the rule.
What are her demands for travel? What does she require? What does she need?
She's pretty chilled as well. You know, she's got a little death row hoodie.
God.
She looks so cool in it. I never thought I'd be one of those guys that puts clothes on my dog, but you know, I've seen her shivering sometimes in the cold, you know, so you know, she needs a hoodie. She's got a little Montclair jacket as well.
Of course.
So she looks so cool. She's a little half Frenchy, half pug, so she's a fug. So she's living that fug life, definitely.
Oh my God.
And yeah, like she's, you know, I've snuck her into many places, but she's actually certified my therapy service dog now. So I've got all the papers. Did all the work and got all the papers so that she can actually come anywhere with us, and they can't actually turn her away because she's officially allowed in.
She's a working girl.
She is.
I respect it. Obviously not like that. She's a professional girl.
Yeah. Over the years, even with my other dogs, because I had 3 dogs at one point, and you know, when I did my last big tour, we sold out a lot of shows in Ireland, so I thought, all right, you know, I want to bring the dog with me.
Treat yourself.
So we took the dog on the private jet, which was
fancy.
That was crazy. It was one of the fanciest things I've ever done, to be honest. Like you know, I am generally quite low key, but it was a different dog. It was Bessie, my German Shepherd, who passed away. She was a bigger dog, but she was amazing. She came on the whole of the my Seeing is Believing tour. We did like 111 shows across the UK, and she came to every place. And she was so well trained. She'd be off lead backstage, and she would recognise every member of the crew, and anybody who wasn't crew, she wouldn't let them past. So she was like the perfect security dog. And she was the only dog.
One out for Bessie.
Only dog in the history that has been backstage at the O2 Arena.
Well, I hope no other dog beats her iconic status. That's pretty fab.
I was the first magician in the history to headline the O2 Arena, and she was the first dog backstage running that place.
I love that. Making history every day. Stephen, before we finish, I ask all my guests this question. What have you learned about yourself as a traveller?
What have I learned about myself as a traveller? I would say I've learned that I don't need as much stuff as I think I did.
And you know what? That's a great answer. Everything you got is already there?
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Or if not, in the shop?
Yeah, you know, travel light and it'll be a lot more enjoyable.
Right on. Stephen, thank you so much for joining me on The Quiet Coach of LNER. You started your London residency at Underbelly, Boulevard Soho. There are some tickets left, so if you want to go to this show, and trust me, you're going to want to go, head over to underbellyboulevard.com/tickets. And if you like what you heard today, why not rate and review the podcast Roots wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure you give us a follow. And next week, we are joined by fashion's favourite TikTok star, the hilarious and stylish Victor Kunda will be on the show. Grab that window seat, reserve your spot with our seat selector. Visit lner.co.uk /reserve seat. Roots from LNER, a distorted production,